Okay, so let's say that you want to be a construction worker, and so you're going to look at the variables of how much does a construction worker get in these cities, how expensive is the rent, and then also, do they have a lot of old houses built before 1939? Okay, so the first thing you might want to do is look for places with high income. So high is good, equals 100 times high income for a construction worker minus the low value, and then divided by the high minus the low, minus 27, 150. Okay, so if I do that, the highest paying job is going to be in Newport Beach, bunch of California jobs, Illinois also pretty high. Okay, but let's say I also want to consider the rent. Now, you could just do a low is good formula here, but let's say I want to look at, well, is it low rent and I get paid well? So to do that, we would look at the ratio of those things. We would divide these two values. And I'm going to change the color here so I can kind of keep track of like these special columns. So this is going to be how much is the rent compared to how much I get. Okay. And again, this is for 1 month, and then this is for 1 year. That's okay though. We're just kind of like looking at how they relate to each other. All right. So I probably want a low rent compared to how much I make. So we're going to use the low is good formula. 100 minus 100 times, okay, the data minus 0 divided by the high minus the low, 0.07 minus 0. Okay, good. All right, so if I'm just looking at the rent compared to the salary, best place is in Georgia, Macon, Georgia. Okay, the rent, oh, this one's actually not good because in this one, I don't have any data for the rent. So I'm actually gonna not delete it, but I'm gonna mark it off as red as being like, I can't use that one. Okay, and the next part is gonna be about having a lot of old homes. The idea being like, if you got a lot of old homes, probably have a lot of work, but you want to compare that to how big is the city? How many people are in that city? So how many old homes compared to the number of people? So we'll have to make a new column again. Let's change the color so we can keep track of this as a special column. So for this, we're going to take the number of housing units compared to how many people there are. Okay, and let's do, there we go. All right, so we basically want, if we're going to be a construction worker and you could think of it as having like a lot of work, having a lot of old houses compared to the population, we want to do that as a high number. 100 times the data minus the low value divided by the high minus the low. Minus the low. Okay. Oops. Don't want this. Let's make this yellow. Okay. Anyways. So the easiest way to like combine all these scores is to just average everything. So you can do equals average. And that'll weight everything equally. Okay. But maybe with some of these categories are more important than others. Say like, yeah, having the low rent is good, but just having more income is, maybe you're more concerned with that versus having a lot of old houses. So you might do something like this. Let's say you want 50% to be based off high income, 30% based on the low rent, 20% based on having a lot of older houses. 0.5 times whatever the income score is. 30% for the low rent score, so 0.3, 0.30 if you want. That's the rent score, plus 20%, 0.2 times the home built score. Oops. 0.2 times this score. enter. There we go. Again, this is that score there. Okay, so how are these different? Well, if I do everything weighted equally, here are my top 3. Oops. These ones here. You know what? Let me put these ones here. Let's leave top 5. Okay, good. So these are the ones that have like the highest one actually, the income there is not that great, but it does have a low rent compared to the income, and it's got a lot of old houses. You see the income of about 46,000. Okay, now if I weight these for more on the income side, 50% of that based on the income, then we got the Newport Beach being the highest one. Okay, so they have a lot of income. They got the best income for construction jobs. The rent is kind of in the middle, and they don't have that many new houses. Okay, but this one here could also be a contender. It depends on how you weight it. Still, Cambridge comes out really high, so maybe Cambridge actually overall might be the best bet. But it depends on how you want to weight it.